Hey folks, it's Roddy here at the Good Spirits Company with Matthew, and today we're talking about the latest outturn of whiskies from Living Souls, one of our favourite indie bottlers, because they produce all sorts of interesting things at good prices.
And seem to find some interesting distilleries. And great packaging. You know, not that that should matter, but it kind of does. You know,
I like that there's no box. You know, they take up the right amount of space on the shelf, but I mean, that, you know, like you can't drink the bottle. So let's talk about the liquids.
This release, which came out last week, it consists of 5 whiskies. First one here is a Glentauchers 11-year-old. We love Glentauchers. It's such a great distillery. You don't see it often in official bottlings, but from independent bottlers you do see it. This is matured in a first fill Stantimilion barrique and bottled at 59.1%.
Yeah, and there's certainly lots of those red fruit notes that you get from red wine casks. You know, if you like Glentauchers but you don't like red wine casks, it's not for you, but otherwise it's a wee sweetie.
It is lovely. It's a really nice bottling and sits up well at that strength. Yeah, you know, it doesn't feel too much.
Yeah. So the second dram is a 12-year-old Ardmore, which I was just looking at my tasting notes from when we tasted these, and for this one I've written down smoked creme brulee with an exclamation mark, which I now want a smoked creme brulee to eat. I mean, I'm sure it would go nicely with this. So Ardmore, a Highland distillery that makes peated malt.
Sister distillery to Lefroy. And you mostly goes into blends as well, much like Glentauchers. You do see it occasionally in like official bottlings, but they're, you know, we don't list it as a single malt official bottling, but we do see it, and there's lots of fans of Ardmore out there. This one is finished in ex-Islay whiskey barrels, and that just adds to that kind of bright smokiness of the whiskey. So just lovely whiskey. Yeah,
and obviously the creme brulee thing, I guess that's coming from bourbon barrels, you know, that it would have been in to start with, you know, that sweetness. Dram 3, we've got GF 20-year-old.
So gluten-free?
It's a Speyside distillery who are famously scrupulous about protecting their naming rights. So we leave it to you as an exercise to the drinker to figure out which Speyside distillery, GF, which is best known for its sherry matured whiskies.
Oh yes, that's the main clue, I think, to what it might be. But this, interestingly enough, is matured in first fill bourbon.
Yes, indeed.
So a fascinating site of this distillery without the sherry. Again,
my notes, it really brings out or shows the tropical side of the whiskey, which you don't see, or I don't see so much in the official bottlings.
No, I think this really, the bourbon cask was delicious, and I thought it really kind of highlighted that lovely kind of coconut and creamy nature of this, but also that enhanced what was kind of a creamy, kind of full-bodied spirit. I think it was very, very good, and a great bottling. And bottled at 48%, so that's quite a nice sensible strength, and that sits on the shelf under £100 as well. So
yes, it does. That's right. Yes, these are. We've not mentioned the prices because I forgot to write them down. These 3 are under 100, and these 2 are not.
Well done. Yes.
I mean, you can see that on our website. So ticking over the 100 mark, we have a 22-year-old from Balmenach. Another distillery that there's no official bottlings. There's one semi-regular unofficial bottling. Deerstalker.
Yes.
So to see you mostly get Balmenach from Indies, and what I think excited about this one is that you really see the distillery character in this.
I think so as well. I think I wasn't here when Jamie came in to let the guys try it, the lineup. And this was the one that Roddy was so excited about afterwards. He was just crowing about how good this was.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to be able to try it at the weekend. And it was just glorious. It was such a wonderful whiskey. And I poured it had a couple of Japanese tourists in, and I poured them a little bit. And they tried a few things, and they tried that, and both of them just stopped. And they were started talking excitedly to each other in Japanese because it just sings. And it's not, again, a fairly sensible strength at 44.9%. So, you know, without trying it, my assumptions would be Balmenach is quite a muscular style of spirit.
Yeah, so to interject there, it's a distillery that uses worm tubs, and it mostly goes into blends. I think Hanky Bannister is, and it's one of those distilleries that's run to produce strongly flavoured whiskey for blending. So in the new make spirit, you'll find a sulphurous note, which translates into the savoury character that I found in this one. Yeah,
absolutely. And we don't often see Balmenach at this age.
No,
which was even more intriguing. And certainly I could have just nosed that glass for days on end. It was just wonderful.
Yeah. So this one's just a shade over 100. I think 110. Sounds about
that's right.
And then more than double that, sadly, in price, 250. But that's still a bit of a bargain for a 48-year-old whiskey.
From a closed distillery.
From a closed distillery. It is a grain whiskey, which is perhaps why it's a little less expensive than it otherwise would be. Yeah, so this is 48-year-old Carsebridge,
which used to be an Alloa.
Yes, aye, it's long gone, sadly.
And it's so good. Like
it's 40.2%. So they bottled it just in time. It's a vatting of casks, and it's. You know, it's approaching its 6th decade in wood. So you've got, you know, all of those flavours which are hard to characterise but can be summed up by age. So you might call it fust, you might call it ancient barrels or old wood or old furniture. And then there's the way that grain evolves with time. So there's that lovely silky texture and a kind of creamy toffee note.
My fear before I tried it was being 48 years old. It could be developing some kind of dryness from the casks and too much tannin. But like for me, when I tried, I felt ethereal. There was a lightness and an elegance it just and the finish was so long. It was glorious.
It is very persistent. The aftertaste hangs around for a long time. I didn't time it. This is a bit of a side note, folks, but I used to. There's a measure used in wine, a unit called the Caudalie, which is. I don't know. I've never got to the bottom of why you have to have a unit of measure called the Caudalie, because basically it's how long does the taste of something last in your mouth after you've swallowed the liquid that you're tasting, the alcohol, the wine, or whatever. A Caudalie is 1 second. So if you say this whiskey has a Caudalie of 30 seconds, you're just saying if the unit of measure is 30 Caudalie, you're just saying that the taste lasts for 30 seconds after it's gone over. That's the French for you. Anyway, it is that kind of whiskey. You know, you'll taste that, and it will hang about, and you'll be still tasting it a minute later, and you'll be thinking about it a day later. So it's expensive, £250, but it's a fascinating dram from a long gone
delicious
distillery.
Absolutely delicious.
So that's the most recent Outturn from Living Souls. We like them all, as you can tell.
We do, if you're unaware of the packaging, they also have the picture on the side as a tasting note of the flavours you would expect from the different whiskies, which I love that kind of visual aspect of the bottles.
They are. You can't drink the bottle, but they are nicely presented. You know, they're the kind of thing that would be nice to get as a gift.
Yes.
not dropping any hints. Anyway, I think we've rambled on for long enough, folks. Indeed. So we'll see you anon. Cheers.
Yes. Thank you very much, folks. See you soon.